I apologize in advance if I cough, if I go into a coughing fit. I'm sick. I slept for about 36, 40 hours last weekend. Ooh, just a little one. And I'm still trying to get over this cold. It's bad. I'm feeling better today, for sure. But I wanted to talk about the T2i and my new purchase, the 60D. The T2i, I love it. I think it's a great camera. I got it for a great price off of somebody on Craigslist. And I've been using it for a couple months now. I used to shoot 35mm with my old T70. I got it when I was about 16. And even then it was highly used. I got it with a 28 prime and the 50 prime, which I love. And a 70 or 75 to 300. And I used that from when I was about 16 all the way up until 28, 30 years old. And then I just got out of photography. And this year, I wanted to get back into it. I was like, let me get into digital photography. And I bought this Rebel XT for $100 just to see if I would get back into it. And I have. It's been a lot of fun this year. This is an old lens off of a Rebel 35mm camera, and I let my daughter use this now, and she loves taking photos. It's a lot of fun when me and her go out. She's 8. It's great. But after a few months, I knew I needed to step up to something better, and I stepped up to this T2i. I bought it the end of June is how long I've had this. And it's been a lot of fun using it, but it doesn't have everything I need. The biggest things, I mean, obviously a huge step up from the XT is the screen. Great for live view. Great to really see clipping, you know, where you're blown out. But I find myself not using the live view, and I find myself only checking the first couple photos I take for clipping, and then I'm done looking at it. I don't look at it anymore. There's some things that this camera lacks that I wanted, and we'll get into that when we start talking about the 60D. But I want to talk about something else first. Knowing that I wanted something else, something better than that T2i, I had to make a decision about whether or not I was going to go full frame. There's a lot of pros out there that will tell you full frame is just better. It just takes better photos. There's also a lot of pros out there that will tell you the difference between full frame and APS-C is not that big a deal. Full frame's about that big. APS-C is about that big. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit off. Maybe full frame is more like this and APS-C is like that. But it's not that big a deal when you consider that you could own a camera that shoots 8x10. And when I say 8x10, I mean 8x10. That's what it's burned onto. That's what the sensor is. You could buy one of those, old-ass camera. And there's all these different format sizes, all the way down to the micro four thirds. And I think with technology, APS-C is damn good if you have some good glass. The other thing is that Canon doesn't seem to be that into full frame. And I need to not caveat, but give you some reasons why. There's a word for that, I can't think of it right now. Give you some reasons why I believe that. Their last full frame camera new, the 5D Mark III, came out in 2012, I believe. They're not putting them out every year, not like Nikon is. And Nikon has like 5 different models to choose from in full frame. Canon doesn't. The other thing is, Canon is making some badass EFS lenses, some lenses that are made for APS-C cameras only. I want the new 10 to 18 EFS. It's like $300, and it's getting really great reviews for that price point. I think it's obvious Canon leans more towards their APS-C cameras because they're releasing like 2 or 3 different models every year new. So that helped me make my decision. stay with APS-C. Then it came down to, which one? Do I buy the 70D? Well, that's still really expensive even used. But it's great for video. Do I buy a 7D? Well, that's expensive. The 60D seemed to be the one for me. So I started looking up reviews of it on YouTube. I even found videos that are the T2i versus the 60D because they have the same sensor. And a lot of those videos said, stick with your T2i if that's what you own right now. Wait until another camera comes out or till you can afford something more expensive. And obviously these videos are older. You know, it was when this camera came out. But I think those videos are way off. And I'm gonna go through that. It feels like a better body. It's sturdier. It feels better in my hands, at least. I have regular sized hands. And if I hit this on something, the body's probably going to be fine. Mr. Plastic Fantastic here won't. But the body will probably be just fine and continue to work. I have everything I need right up top. Hit the button, change it, hit the button, it's done. I don't need a touch screen, which I think it would be good for somebody that's doing the video, you know, where you can touch and focus with the 70D. And I think that'd be great, but I'm not doing video, so I don't need the 70D. Even with the T4i and the T5i, which have newer processors, you know, more megapixels, they have the touch screen. But again, because I have most of what I need right here, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't use live view, so I like not even having it there. And I have two wheels. I have my wheel for my shutter speed, and I have a wheel for my aperture. With the T2i's and any of them going up newer, I can press another button and then use that same wheel up top if I want to change my aperture, but it's nice having the two dedicated wheels. And then I have back button focus, which I have been wanting for a while now. A lot of the photography that I do, and the two different types of photography I do. The one thing is if I'm taking a picture of somebody, right? You know, everybody does that. I use my center focus point. I focus on them. I recompose, take my picture. I focus on them. I recompose. I take the picture, and I do that. I do that a lot. I'm used to doing it. Back button would be really nice to have instead of having to do that. I could do that once, take as many photos as I want. Do that once, take as many photos as I want. Or for speed, you know, not really speed, but if I have something I want to take pictures of and there's other stuff that's moving in the way, I can just focus it and shoot away. Be done. I believe I could change one of these buttons, the exposure lock button on the T2i or any of the T's, to change into that, but it doesn't fall where my thumb falls. So ergonomically, not cool. The only thing that pisses me off with this camera, I didn't notice it until I wanted to change it, because it was in auto, is I don't have a dedicated white balance button. Kind of makes me mad. That may seem like not a big deal to somebody else, but it's a big deal to me. A couple weeks ago, I was taking a bunch of pictures outside, and the weather was changing a lot, and I was changing the white balance. So having that dedicated button like I do on the T2i, I have a dedicated white balance button, is pretty nice. It's actually very nice. And now I'll have to flip the damn screen out to change it. So it's not perfect, in my opinion. If it had a white balance button, it'd be perfect, and maybe I can change one of these, which I'm sure I could change one of them, and I will probably do that. But there is no comparison between the T2i and the 60D, no matter that they have the same sensor. The changes, in my opinion, the differences, excuse me, are dramatic. Sturdier construction, like I said. Back button focus, like I said. Dedicated wheels, like I said. I have all the controls up top instead of having to use the screen to change the stuff. So I just disagree that the T2i is maybe not the better camera, but if that's what you already own, that's what you should stick with. I disagree with that completely. If you're just an amateur and you're just or you're just a novice and you're just shooting at home and who cares, you know, pictures of the kids, okay, stay with the T2i. But for me, I need that functionality, and I think this is really good, and really good, you know, instead of going to full frame as well. Really great camera for the price. So I just figured I'd share, and that was it. Peace.